We're here to provide some closure to a news item that's been doing the rounds of late, and that was the coaching vacancy at Bayer Leverkusen. Well, it's a vacancy no longer because they've appointed this guy. You remember this guy? Erik TEN HAG, the Dutchman, 55-year-old, serial trophy winner for Ajax in the Eredivisie in the Netherlands, and off the back of that success, he ended up getting that job at Manchester United. He was there for 2 years and a couple of months? First season, finishes in third with Manchester United, qualifies for the Champions League, and also wins our favourite cup, the CARABAO Cup. The second season, that Champions League performance was an absolute nightmare. He did win the FA Cup though, beating the blue half of Manchester. And in the third season, lost 9 games, and he was out the door by October. Anyway, this is his first appointment back after that sacking at Manchester United. He starts his job officially on July the 1st. It's only a 2-year contract though, which doesn't inspire that much confidence. I suppose it'll be subject to all sorts of add-ons and extensions if he meets certain criteria. Anyway, the 55-year-old Dutchman has signed a contract running through to June 2027. He does inherit a team that finished second last season behind Bayern Munich. They reached the German Cup or the DFB Pokal semi-finals and got through to the last 16 of the Champions League. Of course, they were beaten by arch rivals Bayern Munich. He takes over, of course, and you'll know this because Xabi ALONSO has gone to replace the Don, Carlo Ancelotti at Real Madrid. There he is, look. In fact, I've got a better visualization of that. Here is Ten Hag stood in front of a beautiful mural. Look at the textures on that. Look at that Bayerina in the background. Anyway, that's Simon Rolf, sporting director at Bayer Leverkusen. Yeah, look, it's Ten Hag's first job again since he was dismissed as United coach in October last year. Yep, speaks about his background. Ten Hag says Bayer is one of the best clubs in Germany and also belongs to the expanded European elite. The club offers excellent conditions and the discussions with the officials have impressed me greatly. Now, this is a moot point, actually, that I imagine that line or those lines in that press conference was delivered in German. And actually, Ten Hag's German is a lot better than his English. So that implies that he is very suited to managing in Germany. And of course, he's got prior experience of managing in Germany because he was the manager of Bayern Munich's second team, the reserve team, and he actually got them promoted as champions from the Regionalliga Bayer League, which is technically the 4th tier. Yeah, that was a few years ago. That was prior to his job at Utrecht, and then he went on to Ajax and then Manchester United. Anyway, so it feels like a good marriage, and actually, there's a good point here pointed out by Simon Rolf, who points to the success and the quality that Ten Hag will bring following experiences at both Ajax and Manchester United. Again, confirmation that Ten Hag spent 4 seasons at Ajax from 2018. He won the Eredivisie 3 times. Technically it was 4. The 4th one was scrubbed off because of that there virus. Remember that? Remember COVID? Nobody gets COVID anymore, does they? Anyway, yeah, technically it was 4, but officially it was 3 titles, 3 Dutch championships. He won the equivalent of their FA Cup twice. He even got as far as the semi-final of the Champions League, and you Spurs, you Tottenhams, you me, people like Jack out there will be able to get excited by this because that semi-final, that was the Lucas Moura hat-trick, wasn't it, in the second leg when he finished that hat-trick with a 96-minute goal? Anyway, then Spurs go to the final and do Spursy. I think they were robbed in that final. I don't think it was ever a penalty in a million years. But anyway, let's come back to Ten Hag. Again, this is Simon Rolf. With Erik Ten Hag, we are relying on an experienced coach with impressive sports success. His 6 title wins with Ajax Amsterdam were exceptional. With 3 championships and 2 cup victories, he and Ajax dominated Dutch football. They were unchallenged between 2018 and 22. And even though the subsequent success with Manchester United under sometimes difficult conditions, Erik has proven his qualities as a coach. Our visions of football align, that's a beautiful phrase, isn't it? With technically demanding and dominant football, we want to pursue the highest goals in the Bundesliga, the DFB Pokal, and the big one, the Champions League. Are they going to be doing it without Florian Wirtz, without Jeremy Frimpong? They're definitely doing it without Jonathan Tah, because he's been confirmed as a centre-back for Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich doing what FC Hollywood do, right? They have success and they ram it down every other club's throat by picking off their best players, paying them shitloads of money, and then going on to dominate the league. Anyway, we'll drop another video at some point this week confirming the Jonathan Tah transfer to Bayern Munich. Let's have a look at his record then. Here is Erik ten Hag. UEFA Pro licence. His average term as a coach, that's a really interesting data point, 2.33 years. His preferred formation is the same as the big brain one, Vincent Kompany, 4-2-3-1. Let's have a look at his points per match ratio. Look, you can see at Manchester United in 128 games, his points per game or points per match ratio was 1.84. 128 games, 72 wins, 20 draws, 36 losses, scored 234 goals, conceded 180, racked up 236 points, and again his points per match ratio was 1.84. And while at Ajax, look, it was a lot higher. Look, 215 matches at Ajax. He did win 159 of them. He drew 27, he lost 29, scored an incredible 593 goals. So 7 goals short of 600 goals in 215 games. Only conceded 184, racked up 504 points. That's a points per match ratio of 2.34. That comment about him being unchallenged in the Eredivisie is absolutely spot on. Here we are, look, confirmation again on the BBC. Ex-Man United manager Ten Hag named Leverkusen boss. This is his first job since his sacking at Manchester United. It's a 2-year contract. Simon Rolfe again says, we have brought in an experienced coach with impressive success on the pitch. Ten Hag will officially start his new role on July the 1st. And again, he's commented that Leverkusen are one of the best clubs in Germany and also among the top clubs in Europe. I've come to Leverkusen to continue with the ambition shown in recent years. It's an attractive challenge to set up something together in this period of change and develop an ambitious team. And I did spot here, this was on the Associated Press, you know, where everyone ends up getting their news from, the fountain of news, that they tried to sign him, or tried to hire him, I should say, in 2021, look. Leverkusen sporting director Simon Rolfe said the club had tried to sign Ten Hag already in early of 21 when he was still coach of Dutch heavyweight Ajax, where Ten Hag led Ajax to 3, but technically 4 Eredivisie titles and that Champions League semi-final in entertaining style. That's a key point there. Entertaining style. It didn't work out then, but it certainly does now. He's got an attacking soccer brand of soccer that fits Leverkusen extremely well. And this is his point about developing talent. Look, it's important for development that you always have a goal, and that's our goal too. Erik has proven that by winning titles in recent years, having been very successful at Ajax and Manchester United, and that's something that always drives us to be successful. Again there, look, he has shown in the past, whether it with former Ajax stars like Frenkie de Jong, who's at Barcelona, or Ryan Gravenberch, who did previously play for Bayern Munich, but is currently playing at Liverpool. Erik has proven that he can develop talents to a top international level, and that is so important for us that we keep rewriting these stories again and again. Now, it's interesting that he doesn't start the job until July the 1st, and yet rumours are, and this is from a Manchester United community on X, Erik ten Hag wants Bayer Leverkusen to sign Garnacho from Manchester United to bolster his squad before next season. The 20-year-old is available for around €60 million. That's from Team Talk. We trust that brand of news reporting. The other point to mention is that after that Europa League final, Garnacho's comments, I mean, he's only human, right? Maybe he regrets it, and maybe it was intentional. There was a social media post where he basically said, I only played 20 minutes. I've been key for this team. I dragged us all the way to the final. I don't get much game time. And then he used the eyes, didn't he? The eyes emoji, which implies he's off. Anyway, apparently in the subsequent days, there was quite a frosty meeting between Ruben Amorim and Garnacho, and it looks like, there's the door, mate. Shut it on the way out, will you, please? Of course, there's other signings. This is Florian Plettenberg, who, of course, does write for Sky in Germany. He's a transfer market specialist. He's close to FC Bayern Munich. This is some other signings that, again, he's not even started the job yet. A bit like Xabi Alonso at Real Madrid. He's not in post yet, but this talent that's been put on shortlist and people that are being bussed in. Bayer Leverkusen are working on a deal for Christian Kofane, the 18-year-old talented striker. Has got a €5 million release clause in his contract with Liga 2 side, so second division down after La Liga in Spain, with Albacete. I believe that's how you pronounce it. If it isn't, you see that comment box down there? It's got your name, all of you, written all over it. How about you write it phonetically, how I'm supposed to pronounce it? I'm pretty sure it is Albacete, but anyway, you write it phonetically and let me know. I know for a fact, having been there, you don't pronounce it Valencia, it's Valencia. I was getting some frosty looks when I was pronouncing the V and not the B. Anyway, Leverkusen are working on a full verbal agreement. Wonder what words need to be put in which order. He would be immediately planned for Erik ten Hag's team. Yeah, that's an interesting signing. Here he is. Look, here is Christian Kofane from Cameroon. He's 1.89 m. He's a striker. And this season in the second tier of Spanish football, 19 appearances, 8 goals, 1 assist. That's a goal every other game, which is pretty good. Yeah, that's impressive. And that's for a team that finished... there he is, just looking at how he contributed with other people in terms of the goals. Look at that, third highest scorer for Albacete in the second Liga. And I just wanted to see where they finished. I'm pretty sure it was mid-table. They finished 10th in the end. They did win on the last day of the season, which is great. Anyway, there are other transfers that have also been confirmed in the meantime. Tim Uwerman has joined, the defender. That's right, the defender has joined from relegated Bochum. And then weirdly, he's going straight out on loan to the other Bundesliga. That's right, he's going to Sturm Graz in Austria. We went to see Sturm Graz last year play this team here. SV Rieder, the Guntermatics. We went to the Austrian countryside to watch a cup game where the home team got beat 3-1 by then double winners in the other Bundesliga by Sturm Graz. Sturm Graz, of course, where Christian Ilzer used to manage. We did see him on the touchline. He, of course, is currently managing Hoffenheim. For how long? We don't know. And actually, the managerial merry-go-round started already, and we'll get into that in just a second. But anyway, yeah, Tim Uwerman has joined the work self. He's joined Bayer Leverkusen from Bochum, but he's gone straight out on loan for a year to Sturm Graz. He's only 21, to be fair. And then the other rumour is that Mark Flecken, the Brentford, the Bees goalkeeper, he plays for raging alcoholic manager Thomas Frank. He's not, by the way. That was just a throwaway comment that we made a couple of videos ago. This is translated, thank God. The transfer fee is said to be between 10 and 15 million euro. Apparently, he's on the way in to Bayer Leverkusen to give some competition to Hodrecki. And then I did read that, again, one player, one comes in, one goes out. Matt Flecken going out the door means that Kelleher from Liverpool will be coming in to replace him because technically, they've got Alisson as the main keeper. They've signed that Kavalashvili, the Georgian. So I don't know where Kelleher would fit. Anyway, so Matt Flecken apparently on his way in. And there I look. He also has experience of playing in the Bundesliga. He's previously played for, that's the Zweite Bundesliga. Played in the second Liga for Greuther Fürth. And again, See that comment section down there? It's got your name on it. Pretty sure that I'm not saying that right. Again, write it out phonetically for me, please. Grurford Firth. I say that in my sort of East Yorkshire. Hull, I'm going for a Coca-Cola down Hazel Road. That's how we speak around in these parts. Anyway, yeah. Previously played for Freiburg, absolutely, in the Bundesliga. Duisburg as well, and Grurford Firth before that. Oh, and along with Aachen. Love saying that. Aachen. Anyway, and here, just to expand upon that point about the managerial merry-go-round, Jess Thurup was unceremoniously axed by Augsburg earlier in the week, and Sandro Wagner, I don't think he's any relation to David Wagner, who did manage Huddersfield during he got them promoted out of the EFL Championship. The EFL Championship, of course, is where Hull City, where season ticket holders, where they once played, and he got them into the Premier League. And we did go to a game, quite a few games actually. Huddersfield, especially Huddersfield Arsenal. We did go to the Macau Pine or the John Smith Stadium or whatever it's called now. Anyway, I don't think Sandro Wagner is any relation to David. Anyway, Sandro Wagner's left his post as part of Julian Nagelsmann's backroom staff for Die Mannschaft, for Deutschland, for the German national team. So yeah, he's in post, only 37. Says, my goal was to work as a head coach in the Bundesliga. Conversations with the club convinced me that this role at Augsburg is the perfect move for me. They have a clear philosophy, one that perfectly suits my style of play. I'm a young coach and I want to develop myself together with the club. The setup here in Augsburg, the Fuggers, is brilliant. There you go. And there's Augsburg CEO Michael Stroll. Love the use of the umlaut above the O. We're delighted to have secured Sandro Wagner as our new head coach. He lives and breathes football. We all do, don't we? We all live and breathe football, don't we? We all live and breathe football. Sandro is highly ambitious and fully committed to the direction of our club. He's already shown in previous jobs that he can develop teams and players. Sandro is extremely meticulous and knows how to motivate a team with his passion. We're looking forward to working together. There it is, confirmed on the Augsburg X post. I had to translate it because my German is still very much work in progress. Sandro Wagner will be the new FCA hashtag new Augsburg coach. The 37-year-old, he signed a 3-year deal, right? So a 37-year-old rookie manager gets a 3-year deal. Erik ten Hag, serial trophy winner in the Netherlands and in the UK in the Premier League with Manchester United, 2-year contract. Anyway, don't read too much into that. Or maybe you can. I don't know. The 37-year-old signed a 3-year contract with the Red, Green, Whites. That's not easy for me to say with these teeth. I've come across old Jonathan Wass there. He'll begin his presentation in pre-season presentation. I'm sure he's going to give a few presentations. Anyway, he's going to begin pre-season training in Augsburg following the UEFA Nations League finals, and we might very well be there as well next week in Munich at the Allianz, the semi-finals where Deutschland, Die Mannschaft, where Julian Nagelsmann's Germany will play Portugal in the semi-final, and if they win, they might end up playing one of either Spain or France. Again, we might be there. If we end up going, we'll confirm it with a video and, of course, on social media. And then this broke as well earlier this week. This caught me by surprise. This is from Get German Football News again on X. Breaking: Werder Bremen have announced Horst Stefan as their new coach, replacing Olli Werner. Of course, Olli Werner was sacked the other day. He had a contract, by the way, going through until summer 2026. It was a brilliant end to the season. My sentiment on that, my analysis, is that apparently he's quite stubborn. This is Olli Werner. He tended to play experienced players over youth. It got the results though, didn't it? Because at one point towards the end of the season, Werder Bremen were one of the form teams in the Bundesliga, right? I mean, they did finish 8th. There was a few points outside of the UEFA Conference League. That position ended up going to Mainz in the end because Mainz finished 6th. Leipzig missed out altogether, finishing in 7th. We'll come on to them in a minute. And then Werder Bremen finished 8th. they've also lost the Scottish Oliver Burke. He's gone to sign for Union Berlin. Anyway, so it feels like this didn't take long for the former SC Elversberg. And don't forget, here it says here, look, Stefan took Elversberg to the Bundesliga playoff because, again, it's quirky, like other leagues around Europe, like Scotland, like in France, like in the Netherlands. I believe it's in the Netherlands too, where whoever finishes like third from bottom. Anyway, there's always a couple of teams that automatically get relegated, and then of course there's a relegation playoff game where one of the teams that finished near the bottom of one division plays the team that came near the top of the other division. They play a game usually over 2 legs, and I guess whoever wins on aggregate, or if it ends up going to penalties and it gets resolved in the dramatic way, so be it. Anyway, Elversberg did their very best, considering that as a town there's less than 13,000 people live there, and they came within 5 minutes of going to extra time against Frank Schmidt's Heidenheim. But Leon Scienza, the Brazilian that plays in the midfield for FC Heidelberg, scored a brilliant goal actually on the 96th minute, and that crushed any chance that Elversberg had to take the game deep into extra time. They lost, what was it in the end? Was it 4-3? I think they lost an aggregate. Yeah, because the first game was 2-2. So yeah, so within a matter of days, is in another job. Horst Stefan takes over from Ollie Werner as managing Werder Bremen. And then the other one then, and then here is Ollie Werner, still pictured in his Werder Bremen clobber and his tracksuit. St. Pauli coach Alexander Blessing, the team with the miserliest defence, or one of, don't score many goals but don't ship many goals either. They survived relegation to the Zweite Bundesliga, with the penultimate game, because they got a draw against Frankfurt, against the Adler, against the SGE. So Alexander Blessing and Ollie Werner, former coach of Werder Bremen, are both in the running for the manager at RB Leipzig. Leipzig is still fighting to bring either Oliver Glasner or Cesc Fabregas to the club. Oliver Glasner, by the way, won the FA Cup with the Eagles, not Frankfurt, Crystal Palace Eagles, with a winning goal by Eberiche Eze. Eze has been on the shortlist for Bayern Munich of potential left wingers, along with Raphael Leao, because it looks like they're going to miss out on Florian Wirtz. That's for other media outlets and other content creators to fight over. Anyway, Blessing was previously a youth coach at Leipzig, and Ollie Werner's out of work now. So yes, we might well be seeing one of those two get a job. And also with Ten Hag then taking over at Bayer Leverkusen, well, I think that's sort of screwed up the plans for Ajax, because Francesco Ferroli, who was the first Italian manager in Ajax's history, he decided that he was leaving after and I don't like saying this, but it was a bit of a bottle job, wasn't it? Ajax were so far ahead from PSV at one point with only a matter of games to go, and they lost out by a single point in the end and came second to PSV. Yeah, so Ten Hag was reported to have been coming back into the Ajax fold, but of course he's committed, well, certainly the next 2 years of his coaching career with Bayer Leverkusen. And apparently this broke recently that Rangers have held talks with Francesco Fioroli over the vacant manager's role there. 36-year-old Italian who previously spoke to Rangers in 22 resigned from Ajax last week after a breakdown with the board despite securing Champions League football. Anyway, this video was all about Erik Ten Hag. Yeah, taking over at Bayer Leverkusen. There he is again, pictured on Twitter in front of that beautiful mural at the Bayer Arena. Yeah, with Simon Rolfe, the sporting director. What do you make of that then? What do you make of Erik Ten Hag, serial trophy winner, landing that job, beating Cesc Fabregas to the punchline? What do you think? I'm calling calling all Bayer Leverkusen fans, I'm calling all Bundesliga fans in general, because it does feel like going into next season with the right recruitment and the ability to... Well, I did also read that there's a goalkeeper that he wants to bring in, one of his former charges, Andre Onana. Of course, Onana was signed by Ten Hag when he was at Ajax, and then he spent close to 50 million euro to bring him from Milan to Manchester United a couple of years ago. And I also read that he's after Antony, because of course Antony played for Ten Hag at Ajax. So yeah, what do you reckon then? There could be some new, with the right recruitment, some new signings, and if he can find a formation and a system that works, they are going to likely be missing, like I say, Jeremiah Frimpong, Florian Wirtz, and Jonathan Tah's definitely not going to be there because he's committed to Bayern Munich. So what do you reckon then? It could be, if he gets the right recruitment, gets a system that works for him, starts to get some positive momentum, he could actually be quite a threat to Bayern Munich next season. What are your thoughts? As ever, you know the drill. There is a comment section down there with your name written all over it. How about you let me know in that comment section down below your thoughts on Erik Ten Hag. How well do you think he's going to do next year in all competitions, and who's he going to sign in with? Signings-wise, is he going to bring in Onana, an Antony, a Garnacho, this Christian Cafane? He hasn't got Tim Ullman, has he? Because Ullman's going to the other Bundesliga. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And about the other sackings and hirings, about Horst Stefan ending up at Werder Bremen, and who's going to take that job at RB Leipzig. It turned out to be a bit of a manager special, this one. Anyway, we celebrate Erik Ten Hag, the serial trophy winner, taking over the reins from Xabi Alonso at Bayer Leverkusen. Yeah, I think that just about does it. Apart from one small request. Again, double pivot. Use those two fingers, please. One to smash the like. The second one to hit subscribe. And then thirdly, use this orifice, please. Like Erik Ten Hag will be on that training ground. Let your friends know about the show, please. Your classmates, your workmates, your familiar, your family. While you're out and about and in with a shout, let people know. Drag them over. We're on the race to 100 subscribers initially. We're on 83, so we're 17 short. We'd love to get to that gallon. Love to get to 100 by the time of the Club World Cup on June 15th. Please help us do that by spreading the word. Like I say, like and subscribing. Anyway, we're going to go now. Ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao.